In a parallel world, Liam is an evil lord who destroys everything around him in his TU Mobile Suit Gundam, while leading his team of plotful baddies to become kings of the galaxy. However, his hatred comes from his past life, where he was a regular salaryman who worked hard for his wife and kids. But he gets betrayed when he found out that his daughter is not his, and that his wife has been cheating with his boss who fired him. When the wife got together with his boss, she also asked Liam to pay her child support, even though the baby is not his, while the cheating wife and his boss clap all night while laughing at Liam. It made Liam grow hatred for humans just then. In his wit's end, a godlike entity showed up and capitalized on his hatred for humans and sent him to a parallel world where he is promised to be reborn as heir to a kingdom where he will possess power capable of dominating the entire galaxy. When Liam is reborn, he wakes up as the son of a count and the future ruler of planet Hydra. It's the day of his birthday, and his mother celebrates it by gifting him something special. She presents Liam with an order sheet for him to create his own robot, and when he accesses it, Liam is shocked to see how detailed his choices can get, starting from their eye color all the way to how jiggly he wants their melons to be. Just then his father, the Count, steps in, and he presents his son with his own present, the title Count, and control over the whole planet as its emperor. They simply ask Liam to send his parents' allowance and let them stay in their peaceful retirement somewhere else to avoid disturbing Liam's new reign. As his planet's Count, they call for their butler Brian to bring Lee the contract. And when he signs it, the father declares Liam to be the new Count of their planet and that his AMA will be taking care of him before both he and the mother leave for their retirement. It surprises Liam how easy it is for him to rise in power. But he is excited with his new life, as unlike his old life, he now can be an evil lord. Liam starts thanking the guide for this new wonderful life he's living. But unbeknownst to him, the guide is someone who feeds on negative energy, and he has set up Liam for failure and a life full of despair back in the real world. The guide sends police officers to disrupt Liam's ex-wife's date with his former boss, and with the guide's help, they arrest the boss for framing Liam and stealing money from the company he worked for while the ex-wife is crying. The guide feeds on her negative energy, knowing that she will never find happiness after what she did to Liam. The guide fully expects Liam to fail in his new life so he can feed off his negative energy, knowing that failing his new life will ruin his soul. The guide goes back to his world, but before he closes the door, a gold cat pops up to check on Liam before running back into the guide's door, back with Liam, his new shiny toy. The Amady has arrived in a package like she's an action figure, and the butler Brian tells Liam to open the package by touching it. When he does, the package dissolves into light, revealing the AA. I made that Leon designed a Maggie bows down for Liam, and while Brian is explaining the logistics, Liam wastes no time testing out her jiggling physiques. Brian scolds Liam for doing degenerate stuff in public, so Liam takes his advice and drags Emmy to his room, leaving Brian behind, while he gets some release later while getting a massage. They inform Liam that lifespans in this world last longer and can reach about 500 years old. But Leanne doesn't mind it, knowing he has a Magi to massage his tense and hard muscles anytime. However, to Leanne's surprise, Brian informs him that Lean shouldn't spend too much time with a Magi, as Ayer is despised by the Empire. He tells a story of how I once enslaved the human race, almost driving mankind to extinction. But there was a man who stood up against the AI and won, and that man was the person who started the Empire. But despite years later, the Empire still hates AI, as it confuses Liam why his own mother would gift him an AI. But when Brian refuses to answer that question, as the Emperor Liam demands that he answer his questions, Brian explains that Liam's parents left him after leaving their kingdom with massive debts, and that his great-grandfather Alistair, who brought glory to this kingdom, failed to raise a proper heir. He adds that their kingdom has lost rights to most of its assets, making it impossible for them to repay their debts, and that things will get worse from then on. In a local tavern, the news about Liam being their new emperor has spread. But instead of being happy, the people gossip about how Liam is probably going to be another horrible emperor. The bartender warns them about gossiping about their emperor. But they don't care about what she says and only hope that their new emperor is a good one. Liam realizes that he is left by his parents to take on their debts. But while things are looking bleak, he decides that after what he endured in his past life, he refuses to be a wimp loser in this life as well. He tells Amagi that as they are both outcasts, they should team up to change their fate. But she rejects his request and goes down on her knees saying how as maid her job is to serve him as long as he lives. After seeing her conviction, Liam orders Amagi to follow his 3 maid robot rules, and he starts by ordering her not to harm humanity. However, Liam quickly changes his mind, declaring that he doesn't care about anyone else, and completely changes the rules. He tells Amagi to firstly never injure her master Liam or let her master get in harm's way. Secondly, he orders her to always follow her master's orders as long as it doesn't break the first rule. Thirdly, Amagi has to protect herself at all costs as long as she doesn't break the first and second rules. After finalizing the rules, Liam's first line of action is to revitalize his empire's governance. But because he has no knowledge of how to govern, he asks Amaya to take care of it. While he slowly learns, she suggests that Liam uses the education capsule, which will give him 10 years of knowledge in 6 months, and Liam agrees to do so. Ryan wholeheartedly shows that he's against using is like Amagi to aid their empire out of fear that they might attack. But Liam assures him that it won't happen as Liam himself has no desire to attack humanity, and Amagi has to follow his orders while Brian is still against it. They leave him to go to the education pod, but before Leon sleeps for the few years, he asks Maggie if she, as a robot, feels any emotions. She expresses how she doesn't know the answer, but reveals that when he asked her to team up with him, she feels an overload in her memory space. Liam enters the education pod to get knowledge, and 2 years later, he wakes up stronger due to his growth, and Mitty suggests that he go into rehab. She shows him the Empire's economic growth, and while he's happy to see positive growth for the past 2 years, he wants to survey it firsthand. He starts by surveying their Empire's fleet spaceport, and he gets excited about how cool it is. Then Amiti takes him to see their mobile knights, and he geeks out even harder, seeing his favorite Gundams come to life, wishing he could have shown his buddy Nita back home. These robots, Liam expresses how he wants to pilot one, and to his surprise, Maggie tells him that he can inside the robot. Liam is capable of controlling its basic movements. But due to watching too much anime, Liam tells Amagi that he wants to try fighting. So Amagi calls up one of their fleet captains to be Leanne's sparring partner. And when the two robots duke it out, Liam wins the battle with ease. However, Liam can see clearly that the captain is holding back, so he demands that the captain fight him for real and not hold back. When he does what Liam orders, he ragdolls Liam around and defeats him, showing how, despite his love for mechas, Liam is just a weakling. He realizes that he needs to get stronger, so he asks Brian to get him a teacher. And while Brian thinks it's a bad idea, Liam forcefully orders Brian to follow his order. The next day, his teacher, A2 Musashi from Vagabond, arrives, introducing himself as Yasushi, the master of the Way of the Flash. While Liam is excited at the sight of this amazing swordsman, Amagi feels worried that this guy might be a fake, but Liam assures her that all great swordsmen looks like weirdos. Then Yasushi shows him a technique he calls the Flash, and tells Liam that he has to learn it at that moment. As he refuses to repeat the technique, Liam orders Amagi to record it. And in one slick movement, Yasushi slices through multiple logs without even pulling his sword from its sheath, shocking Liam. When he looks at the replays, neither he nor Amagi can explain how Yasushi did it, but it makes Liam even more eager to be his student. So he begs Yasushi to teach him, which he gladly accepts. However, that night when the coast is clear, Yasushi goes back to the logs and laughs out loud, saying how he faked his technique and is glad that he now has a luxurious job as Liam's teacher. Somewhere in the galaxy, another kingdom's fleet led by Princess Christiana is approaching a pirate's fleet led by Go. She demands him to surrender, saying how he's surrounded by the United Federation, but to her surprise, Go informs her that he managed to make some of her allies betray her. Suddenly, multiple pirate battleships show up to go against her, and some of her own fleet redirects their cannons at Christiana's ship, forcing Christiana to follow Go's demands back with Liam. It has been 5 years since he started training, and while he has improved, it frustrates him how he's unable to do Yasushi's technique. The Flash, he asks Amagi what he can do to copy Yasushi's technique, but even the robot tells him that she doesn't know. While Yasushi is lazing around like a bum, Liam pays him a visit, which surprises Yasashi, and Liam begs him to teach him how to do the flash. Yasushi acts offended, saying how Liam should have learned the move when he demonstrated it and threatens to quit. But Lee unfolds and starts apologizing, saying how he's willing to give Yasushi a pay raise to make him stay, which Yasushi gladly accepts back in space after her loss in battle. Christiana is in Go's captivity, but he forces her to have a first-class seat to watch his fleet destroying her home planet. Back with Liam, Amai informs him how despite the rise in the economy, there has been suspicion of corruption in the welfare department. They summon the guy who's responsible, and when they confront him, he denies his corruption, saying how his vendor was just late in delivery, which cost them more money. Liam knows that he's corrupt, but instead of anger, he plans to learn from him to become an even bigger evil lord. Amagi informs Liam that the corruption did have a culprit, and the fat corruptor informs Liam that he has taken care of the culprit and executed him. However, Amatai reveals that the culprit was executed without any proof until that day. No proof has been discovered. But Liam realizes something, that the executed culprit was in the same position that he was in and also got scammed. It angers Liam, and he confronts this fat pig for framing the culprit to cover his own corruption, and out of a fit of burning rage with his sword, Liam chops this pig's head off, saying how he's the only evil who's allowed to oppress others. He declares to Maggie that he will execute every corrupt official in his empire, but in his anger, and Maggie calms him down, reminding him that if he executes everyone, they will have no one to help run the kingdom. After hearing this, they discuss the possibilities of using more is like a Maggie. And while it will affect Liam's reputation in front of his people, he doesn't care, as he trusts Amagi more than his corrupted officials. So he orders her to get more. Is back in the tavern. The dudes gossip about Liam again, but after hearing about him executing a corrupt official, they put more trust in him the next day. Liam is about to get on board his robot when Yasushi suggests that Liam needs more challenge. So he suggests that Liam pilots a more difficult robot, and after some consideration, their fleet's captain suggests Liam's great-grandfather's battle robot. Yasushi is snooping around somewhere in the garage looking for things to steal before Liam eventually finishes his training. He accidentally opens a secret door, and inside he sees Avid, the old battle robot belonging to Liam's grandfather. Meanwhile, the guide is hunting for negative energy for himself, and he finds a guy ordering a super-duper coffee that has diabetes all over it, but when the drink gets screwed up, the man gets shocked while the guide feeds on his negative energy. Back with Liam, he continues his training, wanting to learn Yusi's secret technique. The Flash Brian tries warning him that the battle robot Avid is an old junk that can't be used, but Liam believes that an expert pilot like him has to take the challenge of riding the most difficult robot in the garage. Amagi still feels suspicious about whether Yasushi is a legit swordsman, but knowing that she can't do anything against Liam's words, she asks Avid to always protect her master, promising that she will fix him later. Liam and Amagi meet up with Lieutenant Nas, who is an expert in weaponry, and when she notices Amagi, who is an AI, Liam gets hostile, telling her that the AI is his. However, to his surprise, Nia starts geeking out on Amagi, wanting to know her specs and her crooks of crannies. But when she's about to check her new, Liam stops her, saying how that part is only for him to see. Then they take Nias to Avid, telling her that she has to fix it. But she tries to convince Liam, saying how Avid is now a piece of junk and that he should get a newer model. However, Liam refuses, only wanting to ride Avid, and when he mentions how he's willing to pay, however much it is, Nas accepts his request to fix the robot. Just then, Liam tells her that the robot should have a finishing move, but to his surprise, Nas doesn't know what it is, as she has never watched any Gundam. Meanwhile, Yasushi pops up, but when he sees Nas, he falls in love at first sight. Yasushi tries to go full Johnny Bravo and wrestles her up, but to his disappointment, Nia is not interested in his weak RZ and is more focused on the robot after a back and forth between Nas and Liam. Nas agrees to give Liam a finisher, promising that she will burn through his whole budget. Seeing them talk causes Yasushi to get jealous. So he punishes Liam by making him endure a BS training on the lake. Yasushi tells him to use his mind, and Liam believes his words, so he uses his mind far away in space. After capturing Christiana and her fleet Goas, takes Christiana to his pet room to meet his mad scientist, telling him that Christiana will be his new and that they will enjoy her. Christiana is in shock seeing all the test subjects in the room, realizing she's next. But despite her struggles, the two monsters put her in a position to be a test rabbit, and they do unholy things to her back in the tavern, which has now upgraded. The bartender and her patrons gossip about Liam's reign, and they praise him, saying how his leadership will bring their kingdom back to its peak. Meanwhile, Nias has finished the battle robot Avid, and they are in awe at how majestic he looks, that even Brian is crying to see Avid back in his prime. Liam gets on the robot and Nias teaches him how to control it, not realizing she's causing accidental fan service. That we audience won't mind when Liam tries to control it, he falls to his knees. And Nias explains that the robot is fully manual, but has the potential to be the strongest. Then when Liam manages to make it walk, Nias praises him for being a great pilot. But when Nias gets too close to him, Liam can't help but focus on her plots with his imagination in play. Avid follows his degenerate desires and starts moving freaky like it's prime P. Diddy, and both Nias and the others tell Liam to knock it off, while Yasushi is crying, tears of blood, realizing that his precious girl is getting the royal treatment in training. Liam is still unable to do the flash, exactly like how Yasushi did it. Amagi tries to tell him that what's wrong is not him, but that Yushi's instructions are not enough. But instead of taking her words at face value, Liam believes that he still hasn't thought outside the box. He thinks and realizes that Yasushi uses magic, so he raises his training intensity, trying to use his inner power and release magic years later in front of Yushi. Liam uses magic and cuts the log in half with his own technique, the flash, but Yushi is shocked as he faked it. Years ago, Liam asks Yushi if he passes his training, but not wanting to get caught. Yushi tells him that while he has grasped the concept, he still needs to master it while not being arrogant. Later, Liam and Amagi go to space where they find that one of their owned planets is being attacked by pirates. But if they choose to fight them, they can save their resources and gain profit. Despite Brian's disapproval, Liam decides to join in the battle and rides his mobile knight Avid. They send him off through an electromagnetic grid, and when he arrives, the pirates are trembling in fear, as they have never seen a mobile knight as big and powerful as Avid using all his skills and magic. Liam cleans down the house, slashing and blasting through every pirate he comes across. He uses guns and magic, which to the pirates are kinds of weapons that are above their level. But then Liam wants to use his finisher. He pulls out his almighty rocket punch, thinking his fist will fly off. But to his surprise, Nias designed a fish-shaped rocket that can be summoned through a portal and blows up like a nuke. Liam scolds Nias for not following his request, but Nias believes that her upgrade is better than what he wanted. Amagi gives them a report that they only captured 10% of the pirates, while the rest either escaped or got destroyed. But Liam doesn't care and declares that they have won the battle, basking in glory.